We got the LFA interim flyweight champion Kenney joining me here on the program, who's going to be moving up to bantamweight to fight Vince Cachero for the interim bantamweight title. Hopefully you can still follow along with me here. But Casey, how are you, man?
I'm doing great, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing awesome, and I should mention this is the main event of LFA 62 coming up here March 22nd. I'm doing well, but not as good as you, though, man. We were joking off air. You could be the Daniel Cormier or Conor McGregor of LFA, making some history here. When did you find out about this fight? When did you know this was even a possibility that you could be moving up and fighting for another title?
I think they contacted me like Friday or Saturday, so just a few days ago, But, I've been training, I was kind of staying ready for that short notice call. Haven't really got out of shape since the last one, and I'm ready to rock, man.
And your last fight, of course, you picked up some hardware. I talked about it off the top there. You're getting that interim LFA flyweight title over Brandon Royval. Really tough kid out of Factory X. You got a unanimous decision in that one. How happy were you? And where does this rank in terms of, MMA career moments, getting that title for LFA? Because that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah, it was a huge deal. I didn't look super thrilled immediately after the fight because, I was hunting that finish. I've been in the hunt for that finish. But, I went back, watched the tape, and, I put on a great performance, strong 5 rounds, ton of action. I dropped him in the first. I had a couple submission attempts, landed some good shots. So, all around it was a great fight. I think, not many fighters get to experience that full five fives. That's a real thing, and it was an awesome experience for me on top of getting the belt.
Yeah, and I think the timing of this kind of worked out a little bit in your favor too, because I don't know what's going on with the flyweight title with Michael Perez. We haven't heard much of what's happening. I know he had an injury, but
Yeah.
What's the latest of what you've heard about that whole situation?
Yeah, I haven't heard a whole lot about it. He probably watched that fight and decided that he didn't want any part of this. So,
Okay.
but I think in all seriousness, I'm probably done with flyweight for the most part. It seems to be a dying division in the UFC, and I think this is where I want to kind of make my claim in the bantamweight division. Before Royval, I beat a UFC vet at 135 who's a true bantamweight. This is kind of my second claim in that I belong in that division as well.
How do you feel like you match up against Cachero? I literally talked to him about 20 minutes ago, and he feels like you guys are very similar fighters. Do you see it the same way?
Yeah, it's kind of the fight that I've been looking for. Someone that's going to stand there and not necessarily run, but, Royval, he was good at being in and out. He was quick, that flyweight speed. Cachero, he's a little bit slower. He's going to come forward. He's going to chunk it out. He's not going to back up a whole lot, and that's kind of how I fight. And then, we'll see. I think I'm a little more dynamic than him and got a little bit more experience. I think that's going to come into play.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Having fought on Contender Series and, having an LFA title fight under your belt, do you feel like those situations, you talked about experience playing an advantage, but how much of a factor do you think it is?
Oh, I think it's a huge factor, especially, that fight goes into deep waters. I know I'm ready to go 5-5s, see how he takes it. Some people take it better than others. But I just think handling the pressure, you get to this point, you're fighting for maybe a UFC contract. It's like my last 7 fights have been like that. So,
right.
I got no pressure. I'm stone cold with that. I'm fighting for a UFC contract every time I fight.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he handles that pressure. I remember, I fought for my first world title at Tachi when I was 6-0. Actually 5-0. I became 6-0 when I won. And I'm a completely different fighter than I am now. And I thought I was ready for the big show and the best I could possibly be at that point. Well, maybe not the best I could possibly be, but I thought I was ready to take on the best in the world. And now I'm really ready to take on the best in the world. So we'll see how it matches up.
I don't know if you watch a lot of tape on your opponents or if your coaches do, but why do you think no one's been able to defeat him? I know it's only 6 fights, but still, there's something about him that's getting him these victories.
Yeah. A lot of people don't handle forward pressure. They can't back up and fight, and he seems to kind of out-grapple his opponents too. Somewhere I think I'm going to be just fine. And I haven't seen him really, he's taken a couple shots, but I haven't seen him take a real solid shot in his fights, maybe a couple here and there, but we'll see how he handles some diversity too. Also, like I said, he's young. He's 6-0. Really, maybe his last couple fights, he's even fought guys that are, worthy opponents. first couple fights as a pro, normally you start off pretty easily. I haven't seen this whole, I haven't found video of all his fights, but we'll test him. I think this is his test, and I'm ready to test him.
How much different is camp not cutting those extra 10 pounds? Like, how much of a difference is it?
Oh, it's great, man. I'm looking forward to fight week and dreading it. It's I think it's where I belong too. Not that I can't make flyweight anymore, but the older I get, the harder the weight cut's gonna get. So this way, I just focus on my skill. Be ready to fight and chase those belts.
Training camp. I imagine because this is short notice. Did you get in any time at the lab, or has it just been primarily back at home base?
Yeah, dude. Actually, I was already planning on going on the Saturday. I think I got a call that Friday night, and I went that Saturday, got my cage rounds in, that type of thing, and then was basically right to it the whole time training, going in and out. I was in the lab helping Courtney Casey get ready for her fight. So I did like a good solid 5 weeks of my a few days a week there, and then also back in Tucson, kind of staying ready, especially for UFC Phoenix being close by. So I definitely haven't been out of the gym, that's for sure. And then I went this week. We got 2 days at the lab, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I just got back last night, and we're kind of finishing the week out.
For your corner, I imagine Chris Carriasso, and then who else is going to be there with you?
John Crouch is coming in as well.
Nice.
So,
okay.
Short notice. Probably just those two. I may bring in another training partner friend that can make it, but kind of still figuring that stuff out. But got the two big dogs in there.
March 22nd. How do you solve the anomaly? How do you take out Vince Cachero? I got to hear it.
Dude, I think first round KO. I'm due for one. I am due for a knockout, and I haven't called it in a while. I'm gonna put the pressure. I'm coming to hurt this kid, and that killer be killed mentality. Let's do it. I think I put the pressure on him, and I'm just gonna be too much for him. Too quick, too fast, just all around too diverse.
Do you think if you do get it finished, that will finally lead to the call up? I mean, I don't know how many interviews we've done where it's like UFC next, and you've won all your fights, but I think the one thing you could point to, and it's not that you're not an exciting guy to watch, it's just that the finishes. Do you think like that is the one thing that's missing?
Yeah, that's the only thing that can be missing. I mean, honestly, I don't know what else I could do. 2 Tachi belts or 1 Tachi belt, 2 LFA belts, 2 what I consider wins on the Contender Series, what Dana considers wins on the Contender Series, a UFC vet up a weight class at the time. I got one of the best resumes outside of the UFC, so I'd say that should do it, man. That should do it.
I can't wait for this fight. It's coming up here next Friday. It's LFA 62. This is going to be in the main event. Casey, always appreciate you taking the time, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you got any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours, man.
Yeah, of course, man. Always a pleasure to be on the show. But you can follow me on social media at CKMMA125, and then just Casey Kenney on Facebook. And then always a shout out to Chris Carriasso, Rise Combat Sports, John Crouch, the MMA Lab, Jason House and Iridium Sports. And then one of my main sponsors right now is Miss Mary Jane California, CBD sponsor. They're great. Check them out. Other than that, we'll be ready to rock March 22nd.